Hey guys, Corbin had asked me to take a look at your decision, so I've just logged into Globus and I'm going to record this video and send it to you. Just logging in, it kind of helps for me at this point to know what your strategy is. I can look at it and tell that it looks like you're trying to accomplish a differentiated position. So let me just flip over to the comparative competitive efforts. Indeed, I see that Team F, you're towards the upper end of the industry, not necessarily the differentiated provider, but were last year at 6.2 on both products. So going back to your product design, and notice that you're putting quite a bit of money, it seems like to me, into your research and development. I'd have to question whether or not that makes a lot of sense in light of what's going in the industry. So if I take a look at your action capture camera benchmarks, I see that you actually have put the most money in the industry into research and development on your camera and also on your drone. So you might consider dialing that back a little bit. I'm not telling you to eliminate it completely, but let's make a test here, okay? So if you put 12 million into research and development here, you get a 6.3 star product. If you put nothing, you have a 6.2 star product. Where do you get some bang for your buck? That's my question. If you come in at 9 million, you get a 6.3 star product. Okay, so what have we done there? We've saved you $3 million, which equates to about $3 or so per camera that you sell. On the drone, you're putting 15 million. If we go to 0, you drop 0.1 stars. At 6 million or 9 million or 12 million, where do we get the money back? So it looks like you're getting some return on that $15 million that you're putting into research and development. But it's pretty costly because it's costing you $74 roughly per product that you sell. So I'd question, does it make a lot of sense to put that much money into research and development, knowing that you have the most in the industry at this point? Okay. Looking at your action capture camera marketing, it looks like in Europe, Africa, that your prices are not quite optimized. Maybe you've put those there for a reason. You're at 361 net revenues. All of your other markets are around 370. So you may consider raising that price a little bit. But otherwise, I see that you've got some pretty good intentionality in the amount of money that you're putting into advertising. You have a very broad strategy. You've optimized your retailer support budget so that you've got $13 per unit. All of that looks good, okay? Looking at your drone, again, I'm going to look to see if your revenues are fairly equal across your geographic areas, and it seems like they are. Looks like that your retailer recruitment support budget is fairly equal at about $160 per unit. Looks like your marketing is pretty consistent. You're spending, giving 18% for discounts for your third-party retailers. As a result, your market share through your third-party retailers is pretty good. So well done there. Next, I want to look at compensation and facilities. What I would say at this stage of the game, guys, is I probably am not interested in doing an expansion. I know that it tells you need to do the expansion to avoid having overtime, but this demand that you see here is pretty artificial because that particular demand includes the extra 10%, assuming that you get all of the discount bids. I don't know whether you've checked. You have checked no on that, but what I would say is that it's going to be pretty unlikely that you'll actually get your discount bids with the value index being that low. I know that you've given the highest possible discount that you can. My expectation is pretty unrealistic that you're going to get them at this point, okay? Looking at your drone facility, when I take a look at that, you've also got an expansion going on there. Again, it's pretty late in the game to be expanding, particularly if you're running a differentiation strategy. I think a safer recommendation would be to eliminate your expansion. You still don't have any overtime. You're running your factory at about 90%. But if you think that you don't want to run your factory that much, then you can just simply increase your prices in the markets. I increased the prices $100 in each market. And when I did that, it dropped your demand. You're using now about 88%, 89%, something like that. Okay. That also helped your earnings per share. So you're making fewer products. But you're more profitable on the products that you're making. Okay. I also want to look at corporate citizenship. You're doing everything that you should be doing there on corporate citizenship. Finally, finance and cash flow. I would strongly recommend that you repurchase as many shares of stock as you comfortably can. If I look at bonus point awards, your variance on bonus points is you were really close in year 9. You were minus 0.6%. In year 8, you were minus 14%. In year 7, you were plus 6%. Year 6, you were minus 16.5. Okay, so your worst year for projections, you missed your bonus point awards by 16.5%. Okay, so going back to finance and cash flow, what does that mean? It means that you should give yourself about a 15% cushion here in your net profit, or roughly $18 million cushion in your ending shareholders' equity. So I'm going to jack this on up. Probably want to get an additional $35 million worth of shareholder equity out of there. That's going to take me about another 200,000 shares or so. Okay, I can really run that up just a little bit more. Okay, do 560, that gives you 120 million. That is, with profits projected at 120 million, shareholder equity projected at 120 million. If you miss your sales projections, your net profit projections by 15%, that's going to be $18 million that you miss your net profit. Okay, if you miss your net profit by $18 million, then you're still going to come in with 102.1 in ending shareholder equity. Okay. The final thing that you might want to take a look at is what happens. I've got to move my recording here. What happens if you pay off some of your existing debt? In this case, I know it's going to cost you more money to pay off your debt than your current interest rate that you'll get. There's a reason I'm going to tell you to pay off this bigger loan, and the reason is that I want you to only have 2 loans at any given time. Okay, I want you to pay off the 4.8, roll that into a new 10-year loan with enough money to cover your projected cash shortfall. So that looks a lot like a $138 million loan that's going to cost you 5.3%. I realize that gives you a little small increase in your weighted average cost of capital because the new loan is at 5.3, the old loan is at 4.8. Again, the reason I'm telling you to do that is I only want you to have 2 loans outstanding at any given time. Okay. Other than that, your decisions look pretty good. I think you're in pretty decent shape. Just tweak things, continue polishing. At this point, it is a matter of looking at every single solitary decision and make sure that you're doing the right things. Okay. I'm not going to save these decisions, but I will upload this video to YouTube for you, and I'll send you a link. Thank you. Y'all have a good evening and good luck in the decision rounds.